earlier this month, Craft came out with the calendar view and the daily note, which I really enjoy. The thing that I liked so much about this was that it provided a new way to think about creating notes and creating a way to integrate all those notes together. However, one of the things that I was a little afraid of, and it came to be true, was the underlying technology. Craft uses a technology called Catalyst that allows you to quickly develop applications for iOS, iPadOS, and macOS. Now, Craft has done a really great job to blend the lines of Catalyst apps, but when this release came out, one of the things that I noticed was there wasn't a lot of support for the keyboard. I wanted to make the Mac app feel a little more consistent with what I would expect from a Mac app, and that was to generate some standard shortcuts for Craft's switching of views, as well as some simple navigation tools. So I wanted to use this as an opportunity to show you how you could use one of the most popular features of Keyboard Maestro to implement keyboard shortcuts yourself. So let's pour a drink and get into it. So Craft now comes with 3 views. It comes with your standard documents view, the calendar view, and then a search view that gives you access to your most recently opened Craft notes as well as recent searches. My solution for this was to implement a Command-Shift number system to jump between the 3 rows of options. So Command-Shift-1 takes you to Documents, Command-Shift-2 takes you to Daily View, Command-Shift-3 takes you to Search. So let's talk about how we jump back and forth between the document view and these other 2 views, the calendar view, search view, and between those. Now, as you can see, when I'm doing that, you can hear me typing. I'm hitting Command-Shift-1 for document view, Command-Shift-2 for the calendar view, and then Command-Shift-3 for the search view. If you're using the traditional screenshotting tools, you're going to want to override that. In order to do that, just open up System Preferences. You're going to go to Keyboard, Shortcuts, Screenshots, and then where you have that save picture, you just want to uncheck that box. So in Keyboard Maestro, I have this Craft folder, and this is how we make sure that these keyboard shortcuts only do this in Craft. By creating this folder and enabling the macro group, I can say that it's only available in these applications and choose just Craft. Now let's take a look at the individual views themselves. So I have Docs view, this view, and then I should probably make this consistent and do calendar view. There we go. All right, so we have Command-Shift-1, Command-Shift-2, and Command-Shift-3. And as you can tell, there's not a lot going on. There's more than it looks like, but we're going to break this down one by one. I'm going to switch to a side-by-side view so that you can see what's happening, and then I can show you what's happening after that. So let's start with Docs view. All it's doing is looking for this image. It's looking for that grid-like image. And the fun thing about this is, if you notice, once it's activated, it changes colors. Well, that's to our benefit, because if it's already there, we don't want it to do anything else. But there's some niceties that we're going to add to this to make sure that the mouse doesn't jump all over the place and that we can have a consistent experience across the board. The ones I have it set to best. There's only one option in the front window. That's the big difference. So now if you have multiple windows open, you can have 2 Craft windows open and use this shortcut, and it won't get confused as to which screen it needs to change. It's only going to change the one that's in the active window. By doing that, we've done almost everything that we're going to do for all of these. There's just one last step, And that's to make sure that we say restore mouse location, which means that it's actually moving the mouse, clicking the object, and then putting the mouse back where it was, which I think is a great way to do this, but it's not something you always want to do, and you do have to set it manually by clicking the gear over here in the corner. And then in the last one, we can see the search view is a little different. Instead of having it just look for the magnifying glass and setting this to unique, we actually intentionally have it set to bottom most. Depending on what view you're in, you don't want it to get confused between this object down here and this object up here. So we do that by saying only show the bottommost option. And that's set here in bottommost. You could probably also say leftmost and it would work as well. If you did want to go to that top option, you could do topmost or rightmost, but you're going to get that search window that you can also get using Command-Shift-O or Command-O in some views. You're not going to get the search view on the side. Now let's take a look at navigating through the calendar view. First, we're going to jump to the calendar view, and I'm going to hit Command-Shift-2 to do that. Now we're in calendar view. Now, the other side of this is we want to be able to click these buttons up here. And of course, if we're on like different days, we want to be able to jump back to the today state. Now, I have these set in Keyboard Maestro as well, but I'm using Command-Shift-T for the today view, which I know that that's a toggle. I'm actually thinking about changing this to a different option, but I didn't use the toggle that much anyway in Documents view, so I'm not too worried about it. But just keep that in mind if you're building this out yourself or if you're using some of the tools that I'll provide. And then we're also using Command-Shift left and right to navigate through the days. Now, again, this only works if I'm in Craft, and funny enough, this actually only works if I'm in the Today view. So if I go over here and I click the buttons, it's not going to do anything, right? That's because the buttons don't exist there. I do have to be in the Today view, and from there, if you watch me click it, if you watch fast enough, you might even see the mouse jump over from time to time and then jump back. As you can see now, we've quickly jumped into January 2022, and we can go backwards if we want. That also works. And if we want to just jump back to today, we'd use Command-Shift-T, and we're back on the Today view. And if you look in Keyboard Maestro, it's the exact same commands. It's just different settings. What I've done here is I've taken the image of this area here, the top area on the calendar, and I've only gotten those 3 buttons. So for going forwards, we have it move 25 points over from the center, and that navigates it pretty close to this. You'll see it highlight. And for backwards, we have it dead center since that is the center of the image. And then of course for the today view, we have it negative 25 over. So if you broke it into 3 quadrants, you have 25, 0, negative 25, just like that. On this view, we do have some of the same things that you saw in the first image. Obviously, we have our image. I will say with these images, try your best to make it as limited to just that option as possible so that you get a unique view. The reason I didn't go and do that on the calendar view here is that you have similar looking chevrons all throughout this page, and that could cause confusion, and it was just easier to grab the group. My rule of thumb when creating these images is to be as unique as possible, as small as possible. And that's why I chose kind of the 3 icon set, because that was as unique as you could get on the screen, and I limited it to just those 3 options. That way I could make it easier to jump between option 1, option 2, and option 3. Of course, we have it set to only the front window. We're not dragging. We have it to click, unique options, and then of course we restore the mouse location. And again, we'll remove failure to notify because there's no reason to do that. So there you have it. That's how I use keyboard shortcuts to navigate between calendar view, search view, and documents view, and then also navigate through calendar view inside of Craft. If you're not comfortable building these Keyboard Maestro macros on your own, I've created a link in the description that goes to a GitHub gist that has those macros set up. It's gonna look like a bunch of text and gobbledygook, but if you just hit the download zip button, it'll give you a nice KM macros file that you can just double click and add directly to Keyboard Maestro. That's gonna do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that I inspired you to think about how you can create your own keyboard shortcuts to make Craft work a little bit more like you would expect it to. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you have some ways that I can make these shortcuts better, let me know down in the comments below. And if you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe. But until then, I don't know, like go make a shortcut or something. See ya.